we'll get a little bit closer to this. Beyond that, I'm not entirely sure what our routing options are.
Pull out the atlas.
Navigators, do we have an east route out of Mayfield? We do.
Yeah, we do.
We've been chasing storms here through Virginia Tech. The first students actually out back in 1992. So we've been doing this for 30 plus years. The way I describe it to the students, it's a round trip ticket. We want to be out and back home safely.
It was very common for us to start the day meeting up in one of the hotel rooms, all 18 of us, and going over observations and model data to pick the most likely location across the country that a tornado would occur, and for us to be able to finely tune that location and adjust as necessary in going to those locations to have a very successful intercept where we saw the storm develop from the beginning and all the way until the end to see the entire life cycle of the storm. We were able to accomplish that not once, but almost probably 3 or 4 different times throughout this chase.
In Kansas, when the storm got a bit bigger, a shelf cloud did end up forming. That was a pretty large supercell. What we felt was a really, really strong inflow, enough to where you could kind of lean back into the wind and you could just feel the storm just sucking everything up.
We were basically right on the scene of where the storm formed. We were by an airport and we got an amazing view of like the cloud circulation, and basically we saw the storm complete from birth. We were spot on with where we started. And then we started chasing it for a little while. I believe it was about 50 miles. At one point, there was a tornado that formed. However, it was very rain-wrapped, so unfortunately, we didn't get a glimpse of it. But this is still, for our very first storm, it being a tornadic storm is still incredible.
Observing storms safely does require some experience in recognizing storm structure, how the storms evolve and how they're going to move. So most people are surprised at how close we can get, as we were on this trip, close to the storm in relative safety, as long as you have a good bead on the storm motion, the road network. And the way I like to describe this as well is whenever you are not calling the shots in terms of your movement around the storm, that's when we pull off. So knowing where you are in the inflow region of the storm, where the best features of the storm are visible, that's typically where we try to locate.
We were in southern Oklahoma and we watched a supercell form. You could see a wall cloud start to form, so that's when we knew that the supercell was really going to mature and build into a pretty big thunderstorm. And over time, we tracked it for a couple hours until it dissipated near the Texas border.
On our Minnesota chase day, we began with a target of northwest Minnesota. One supercell in particular formed. We were in a good position to watch the wall cloud pass right over us. On the back side of the storm, we were able to see 2 tornadoes develop, which was a surreal experience.
When we were in Minnesota, we had to decide whether to drive out west to see if we could intercept any more storms or just head back east to go home. We did decide to go out west. We ended up in Colorado. We intercepted a Boeing line of storms. There weren't any tornadoes, but we did see a pretty solid shelf cloud, lots of lightning, which was pretty cool.
It was an incredible chase. Some of the final stats, we saw 3 or 4 really well-defined storms, traveled over 6,000 miles across 17 different states, one of which was northern Minnesota, 40 miles away from the border, and which was the farthest north any Hokie Storm Chase has ever been. We drove through Kansas and Nebraska, where we experienced 105 to 106 degree temperatures, which was also the highest across all of the Hokie Storm Chases. Wonderful trip, certainly ranks within the top 5, potentially even top 3 overall chases that we've been on, and how successful it was.
Mission accomplished yet again this year.